How's it hanging? How's it happening? You guys know who it is. This is Kevin from the Chord Progression Podcast. The podcast show Stone Magazine describes as the one that initiates profound discussions with rock and metal artists, line fans cover the creative workflow of other favorite musicians, and understand the factors that make the band succeed or fall from fame. We are all sponsored by Dark Fusion Systems, the best for your custom computing needs. Get $100 off your entire bill with code CVPod at darkfusionsystems.com. Links to the podcast below. We are also the number 21 ranked metal podcast in the world, according to millionpodcast.com. We got 20 spots to go to number one, and hopefully this episode with the guest we have puts us a couple of spots further. So what guest do we have? Let's go to our feature presentation. We're going to probably the best straight metal band there is out there right now. We have Niklas from the band Orbit Culture on the podcast today. The brand new album, Death Above Life, is coming out on October 3rd. Not only do we dive into the album with the singles, we talk about how this album is constructed as 10 songs that should be singles, but work cohesively as a unit, why The Path I Walk takes a little bit of a different perspective on the Orbit Culture sound, and why this might just be album of the year material. You guys ready? Let's go! Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of the Chord Progression Podcast. When you're thinking of metal today, and I'm talking about metal in the 2020s, and you want that metal that's the metal that should have been continuing on from the bands that have been the greats, from the 70s, 80s, 90s, where are we finding that today? Because for me, I love me the metalcore style, love me what's going on with modern metal. But when I heard this band for the first time, I was like, this is what it should be. This is absolutely insane. I cannot wait to hear more of this, and I cannot wait to have a chance to bring him onto the podcast. And now with a brand new album called Death Above Life coming out on October 3rd, oh my God, guys, you're going to absolutely lose your mind over this when it comes to mixing melodic death metal and groove metal together in just the best way possible. This band, which is quickly becoming one of the best bands, might be the best band in metal today, is here with us. So please welcome Niklas from the band Orbit Culture to the podcast. So Niklas, welcome to the Chord Progression Podcast.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on. We are getting much closer to the release of the brand new album, and one of my favorite questions to ask right off the bat is just, how is life going and how are you feeling as we are right up to the release of the brand new album?
Dude, man, I'm so excited. It's been, so much work behind this fucking record, so I'm just so happy that we're getting into this. We're doing a lot of press and stuff now, and everything is just leading up to it so good now. And I think, I'm kind of climbing on the walls, basically. I just want to get this shit out now.
I don't blame you for wanting to get this shit out now and wanting to get it out as soon as possible. I mean, just being able to go through the singles and just really being able to be immersed in them, I just couldn't help but just be amazed and be more and more anticipatory around the release of the full thing. Because I'm like, if this is what the 3 singles we've released so far have in store for us, what do the other 7 have? And am I going to be able to handle this in a perspective that's not going to make me lose my mind and possibly cancel calls at work because I cannot take this call right now? I am listening to new Orbit Culture.
I sure hope so, man. No, but the whole record basically is, you will find a lot of, old Orbit Culture in there for sure. But also, very much new stuff. We've tried to experiment and still keep, the Orbit Culture spine intact. So, I think we succeeded in this fucking thing.
I mean, I would be shocked if you guys didn't succeed in this thing, especially hearing what's already out from the album right now. Seeing the reaction from what's already been out there about the new songs, it's something where it's like, I think people are waiting for this to come out so they can solidify it as album of the year already. I mean, I'm pretty close to it. Right now, it's like, this could potentially beat my album of the year candidate right now, which is the Whitechapel record that came out back in March. So I'm like,
holy shit.
Ooh, this could be something that I never expected, but gimme.
I mean, if we, to be fair, I don't think we can top Whitechapel. Whitechapel is in their own league, but I mean, if we get close, I'm happy, man. What a great fucking record they did! Holy shit!
Oh my God. I couldn't believe how good that record was. It was just constantly going through. I'm like, this thing it's heavy. It's poetic. It's just the absolute mixture of what they used to do and like from a instrumental standpoint, but lyrically and thematically, what they've done on the last two records. It's the perfect marriage of everything. And I thought right after hearing that, man, it's going to be hard to beat that record for Album of the Year 2025. As we've gotten through in about, 9 months so far, I haven't found anything that was going to beat it. I didn't think anything was going to beat it. I listened to the singles from Death Above Life and I'm like, oh shit, this may be it.
We will see, man. But I'm so excited to bring it out. I feel like the singles became more of the experimental things, while the other songs are more Orbit culture, old, friendly for older fans, I think. But I think once you have the full album in full, and you listen to it, from start to finish,
Mhm.
it's gonna make sense so much more. So that's cool. That's what I'm excited about, to let fans hear the whole thing as it should be.
Well, that makes me even more excited for the album too, because especially we're able to, not only see where the singles have more of an experimental feel, but then see where the other songs really went to. Maybe some of them still have a more of an experimental feel. Maybe some of them just completely kept building up on what Orbit Culture has done, what you guys have done from your previous, what was that, 1, 2, 3, 4 albums? Like I have them all listed here, and the previous 4 EPs that you've done. I mean, doing this over the course of 12 years, you're going to see that growth. You're going to see that experimentation. But it seems like with especially the singles that we've heard from on this album, that consistent quality that Orbit Culture that you guys have created with your music just continues to grow and expand as time goes on. I mean, listening through these singles, I'm looking through just like the overalls. I'm like, I mean, the end of one of mine, this is a big fuck yeah. What is overall? Goddamn, this band put a heavy focus on a more primal drum beat, sludge-inspired guitar tone. Try to make something not only aggressive and mentally uplifting, but powerful in a way that makes you feel like you're back at your roots and makes something great happen. To, what was another one? Overall, I'm still stunned. Like, that was my overall take on each three. I'm just like, how is this real?
Well, that makes me so happy, man. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Oh, you're very welcome. Well, how about jump into this? When it came to really writing this record, really diving deep into it, what was the overall hope and accomplishment that you guys were setting out when it came to record number 5?
I think since this is the first record that we do through Central Media,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we knew that we really had to put a lot of fucking focus into the writing to make it the best that we can with the best tools, everything. We just had to amp it up to 110 for this fucker. But when it comes to the writing, the first goal was to get all the 10 songs to be able to stand maybe as singles. I guess in some way all bands try to aim for that, but that was like our first goal, that
Mm-hmm.
we want all 10 songs to be able to be singles in some way. But the more we got into it and started to write lyrics for the whole thing, we never thought about it as a concept album, because it's not, but you can still feel and read, if you read the lyrics, like this red thread going through it all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like how the title came up to be, Death Above Life. It's a lot of revenge in the lyrics. It's a lot of sadness, angriness, hope in there too. We threw in, you always have to have at least one like fantasy songs. We threw in
Mm-hmm.
some dragons too, just to, make that make sense for some reason. But yeah, it's we just wanted to make the best 10 songs that we could for this record. Yeah.
See, now that makes a good deal of sense too. And I forgot what movie I was watching, but there was some line in there that it was like, back in the day, it's like you needed a whole, like when albums were on like 8-track players or cassette players, it was you need the whole album to be good. You couldn't have like 2 or 3 good songs and call it a great record. There was no skip button. So I've seen bands, of course, we've all know bands that have probably done this, where it's okay, you have 2 or 3 great songs on there, and then the rest are kind of just filler songs because those 3 are going to prop up the entire album. On this, though, with you guys trying to say, okay, we want to make sure that we create not only the best music we can for ourselves, where all 10 songs should be able to stand out as singles and be able to be released in that way if possible, but be able to stand out cohesively and on an album together. So not only do you get the highest quality of song every step of the way from Orbit Culture, but you also get the full-on album experience that especially metalheads are always dying for. Metalheads love an album. They don't want just a single drop here and a single drop there. We're always begging for the album. We still want that experience. And by not only going through it with the song quality that you guys did, but with that idea in mind, this is going to be something that, I'm pretty sure metal fans are going to be talking about throughout the rest of the decade.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. But as you said, I think now when you said it so good, is that I think we wanted the best of both worlds. We wanted, because you have to basically do singles, because people consume music, as it's, fucking milk cartons these days, right?
Yeah.
But we also never wanted to leave like that sense of, listening to an album from start to finish. And hopefully we succeeded, but we will see, on October 3rd.
I mean, we can make our best guess if you guys are going to succeed come October 3rd. Again, if there's any close relation to what the singles have already produced, it's going to be a resounding yes. I mean, I'm already highly anticipating this to be not only a top 10 album of the year on my end, but I'm already anticipating this to be able to potentially take over Whitechapel as the number 1, which is nuts to think about. But at the same time, diving into it, I still remember this would have been not about a couple days ago, the previous Friday before we recorded this, went to the MMA gym. My buddy is there. I'm like, hey, dude, have you ever heard of Orbit Culture? He's like, I've heard the name, but I've never really listened to them. What do you think about them? I'm like, my take on if I just told you heavy metal, what you'd expect. He's like, yeah, you're good with some of the things or some things you're not. I'm like, this is something that I'm absolutely big on right now. I'm like, you got to check this out. This is nuts. I get a text from him the next day. Yeah, I checked out Orbit Culture. You were right. That's all he said was, you were right. I'm like, that's how I know it's a freaking winner.
Nice. But I think that, that has been like our thing now, ever since we started back in 2013. We always felt that, because we started the band around the time when, gent and metalcore was very, hip and popular. But we always felt like, fuck, where's the Lamb of Gods? Where's the like new Trivium stuff and shit like that? So I think that was, even though we tend to bring in inspiration from melodic death metal, groove metal, whatever, fucking redneck metal, I don't know, everything. But we always view ourselves as just a basic metal band that steals stuff, basically. In a good way, I hope.
Well, it's not, I wouldn't say stealing stuff, but more being inspired by stuff, because by having that thought of like, okay, when you started out, yeah, gent was popular, the metalcore side, the Warped Tour side of things was still really popular, but you're right, it was like, where was the continuation of what bands like Lamb of God had been doing? Where was the continuation of stuff that like Trivium had been doing? There wasn't that much of it, and there was a massive, I'm not going to say massive hole of opportunity for you guys to fill, but it's, if you want to go into that and just work with it, why not? Then you put more ideas from melodic death metal in there. You put more ideas from groove metal in there. Put more ideas, like you said, redneck metal. Whenever I think redneck metal, I'm thinking Pantera. Put that in there as well. And this is what you end up getting, and it continues just to go forward. I mean, the first time I turned on the Tales of War, after like the first minute and a half, I was already thinking, this epic opening song, it feels like you could put it in the movie 300 prior to any one of the battles, and it absolutely fits on building up that intensity and building up that overall emotion, like you're ready just to go and absolutely kick some ass, and there's nothing anybody can do about it.
Thank you, man. That makes me so happy. I think we are pretty basic battle band again, but as you said, bring in a lot of elements here and there. But what one big element that we in some way became like a non-existent in real life, I would say. Fifth member is like the cinematic stuff or
Mhm.
shit that we do. And it's just so funny because it came kind of from an accident at first. When you start to download all these fucking string libraries and you have 200 of them, but you don't know how to use any of it basically. But then when you get stuck at writing, you blame your fucking guitar or your fingers or whatever. You start to like incorporate pianos and strings and whatnot.
Mhm.
And then we were like, yeah, holy shit. And then from that, also we are huge, movie cinematic soundtrack lovers like Hans Zimmer,
Mhm.
John Williams, and all that. So we kind of knew that we if we're gonna use this as a tool to make the songs bigger, fucking let's go, man.
It absolutely adds to it and gives it that grandiose feel without having to have it seem like it's completely in your face aggressive. Because if you're trying to do that without those, like, use that like soundtrack vibe or the cinematic, the theatricals behind it, it creates this overall scope of emotion that there is so much more beyond this than you could possibly expect. Because we watch movies that have a John Williams soundtrack or a Hans Zimmer soundtrack to it, and it just connects in a way that makes that experience seem much more powerful than it would be without it. And by using that, and of course, downloading those libraries, and all right, now we have it all, but what do we do with this? Being able to play around with it from a perspective of, I've got no clue what's going on, has led to be able to use those in a unique way that is specific to Orbit culture. It's, again, I've seen other bands use that cinematic style, but in order to bring it out in the way that you guys have done, especially, again, using the singles as an example, that's not something you typically see every single day. That's not something you typically hear from many bands, if any bands outside of you guys. So incorporating that in there to have it essentially be the fifth member of Orbit culture, it works. It absolutely works.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I mean, as you said, we have bands like Dimmu Borgir or
Mm-hmm.
even Flash God Apocalypse and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They are, they create their like orchestral, you know, hooks or lines
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. Their symphony basically so good in their because as you said, they maybe use those elements more like a lead,
Mm-hmm.
in front of the tracks, but we always wanted it to be kind of in the background, just elevating
Mm-hmm.
the core elements, the guitars, bass, vocals, and drums, and keep the cinematic just in the back, just trying to elevate the music a bit instead of making the orchestral stuff, too much of a lead, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. It makes a lot more sense when you brought up Flesh God Apocalypse as an example of kind of like a band doing that, but in the lead sense rather than the like support sense or the enhancement sense. Because yeah, I've listened to Flesh God before, and when they bring in that stuff to be the lead, it has that not like not necessarily like symphonic metal, but it has that symphony feel to it.
Yeah, yeah.
So it is grand, it is bigger, but at times it feels more like you should be hearing that in a theater, which is a little bit more of a niche thing versus what you guys have done, which gives it that cinematic feel, which gives it the movie feel, which a lot more of us can relate to, given the fact that I'm pretty sure as humans, people end up watching at least 5 to 10 movies over the course of a week.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I love. I
Mm-hmm.
would be able to do what Flesh God does,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, it just makes more sense to do what we do because, first of all, I don't have the experience to write like a symphony like Flesh God. I
Yeah.
mean, kudos to them that it's fucking great that they do that. But I'm more, you know, building soundscapes and stuff. If that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah,
But
that
yeah, you're right.
That makes sense, and it's just, again, you're seeing two different great uses of that concept and of that idea. Just, again, two different ways, going in two different directions, but the
Yeah,
positivity and the overall impact is what makes sense. Now, I know
it
I don't
does.
have you for that much time, Nicholas. There is one question I always love to ask when new music is coming out. So, like you said, you want to make it so that this album, each song could have been a single. At the moment of recording, we've only had 3 of those songs come out as singles. I'm not going to ask you about those 3 because, I mean, we can all listen to how great they are. But I'm going to ask you a different question. out of the songs that have yet to be released and are going to be released on release day, which is the song you were most excited for people to hear and why?
It's a special one for me because it's the last song of the album called The Path I Walk.
Mhm.
It's been with us for a bunch of years. It's weird for us because first, when you listen to it the first time, it might not feel like an Orbit Culture song, but and that's what we felt too, making it. But once we got the lyrics down for that song, because it's so, it's about difficult topics as suicide and stuff like
Mhm.
that. We always have to be very careful writing about that stuff. But I think our guitarist Richard, his father passed away due to suicide, and I was asking him if are we gonna do the song? Are you okay with that? Then we're gonna like dedicate it to his father who passed away, and he was fine with that. And that's when it felt so real for us that we just had to do the song.
Mhm.
And it's a song that's a movie soundtrack, but with these very sad, melancholic lyrics. But it has barely, no distorted guitar, no drum. It has cinematic drums, but no real drums in that sense. So that's the wild card song of this album, but it's also my favorite because it is so special. It is so heavy, emotionally. So that's what I'm most excited for people to hear, because if you go into listening like that it might be just another ballad, then you're wrong. I would say this is the most raw but also emotional song that we've done, and I always been gravitating towards that. But the last song, the Path of Walk, that's the song that I'm most excited for people to hear.
Then it might have been the perfect time to put that as the last song on the record too, given it being the most raw, the most open, but also maybe the most outside of the box you guys have done, because it doesn't sound like a perfect Orbit Culture song as what maybe people have expected. But given the depth behind the meaning of it and the need to put something like that out there, given its placement on the album, that might be the one that not only do people latch onto, especially from the metal fandom, a lot more, because it could provide that moment of just essential just clarity, but also an expanded reality in terms of what the album could be, but also how it ends. Because if we're going to experience something like that to close out the album, especially what we experienced from the first 9 beforehand, this could be that moment that's like, holy shit, how the hell is this possible? How the hell is this even a thing that I got to listen to? I am grateful that I got to experience this.
Awesome. Yeah, it's gonna end the special, but yeah, it just felt like the most natural thing for us to have there, even though it is like the first, as you said, like 9
Mm-hmm.
songs will be like this fucking roller coaster of metal, and then you have that ending attraction, I would say, in the end.
Oh, it's going to be something to take on. And then, of course, once the album releases, I know you guys are going out on a headline tour throughout the Europe and the UK, but I'm over here in the US. So my question beyond that is, what can we expect back over here in the United States?
We are in the planning stages. There's, still moving parts, but I think you and I will see each other in the beginning of next year.
Oh boy. And
Yeah.
and with this whole entire record out too, with songs being played off of it, jeez. Just get ready for just some of the best mosh pits you've ever seen, guys. I'm not talking about telling you guys seen for the best mosh pits. I'm talking about like fans. Let's go and let's make it that way.
Yes. Let's do it together.
I mean, if we have to get ridiculous with it too, and all of a sudden we're having some heavy ass great metal that's being played, but then we bring in a bunch of little inflatable hammers and swords and start hitting people with them just for the fun of it. Why not? We've done that before, and we'll do it again.
Awesome.
And well, we've only brought that out for like the bands that are like the best bands around right now. The last time we did that, it was with Knocked Loose, and it was funny as shit.
That's awesome.
So we'll do it again. Well, Niklas, just quickly before we have to say goodbye and get you your next one, there's one last question I always love to ask. It's a way for us to get to know more new music and for you to get to share some music you love. I'm limited to 3 so we don't go overboard, but can you name me 3 bands or artists that you love that you would love to see more people get into right now?
Holy shit. I would say Bite Down, another Swedish band, which we had on tour last year. Super cool. Very hard hitting band. So Bite Down from Sweden, Humanity's Last Breath, because it's just totally fucking mayhem. I love it. Kind of, I guess, hard to get into if you're, if that's your first metal band to listen to. But yeah, if you get it, you get it. Number 3, I mean, they are super big these days, but I have to say Gojira, man. They don't need any like marketing, but I must say Gojira. It feels like I've like found them again, if that makes sense. I listened to them for so many years. Then I had like a small dip, but now I'm back on the Gojira train for sure.
I'll say that does make sense. I remember last year at the end of the year, I had Miles Kennedy from Alter Bridge on the podcast. I asked him that same question. He's like, man, my go-to answer for this was always Gojira, but after the Olympics, I got to change it.
Exactly. You see?
I'm like, if Miles Kennedy can say it, then I think, I mean, like, yeah, pretty much we're good with anybody else saying it too.
Yeah. If Gojira, I mean, you can't really scratch them, but I'm gonna add a 4th one.
Yeah,
and it is Garia from Portugal, which we're having with us out now on the upcoming tour here. They are fucking amazing and deserve everything that comes for them.
Perfect. Okay, so we got 3 great new ones for everyone to check out, and of course, Gojira.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, Niklas, I want to thank you for taking the time to be on the podcast. We'll close out with 3 things. First things first, the brand new album Death Above Life comes out on October 3rd. And like Niklas said, especially over in the U.S., get ready because next year they're going to be coming over and you better be ready for it. But if you're around the world, if you're in Europe, go and see them play with Gaia and Atlas right after the album release. To be sure to catch all this, go script for the podcast, which says find Orbit Culture Online. Links, labels for everything are down there, so you don't have to miss out on anything. I'm doing all the research for you, so just go and click it. Do it yourself. I got you covered. Now, step number 2, Niklas. Whenever I'm guesting the podcast, I enjoy the podcast, I tend to make a certain promise, a way to say thank you. I appreciate you taking the time, and I wish to continue to support you guys in the future. And this is how I do it. The promise is when, because it implies it's going to happen. We just have to find a day or time. But when I get to see you perform live for the first time, I will come and find you. I will come and say hello to you. But that is not the real promise. The promise really is that first round's on me.
Okay. That sounds great, man.
And I love to pay up on that. My wallet doesn't, but
The thing is, both the band and the crew, like, we are very into PBRs and White Claws for some reason. So, yeah.
Well,
get ready for that.
I was going to say, well, if you guys are really into PBRs, in the corner back there, I have a PBR mini fridge.
Oh, perfect. We're already best friends.
Hell yeah. Well, yeah. And I'm from the place where PBR was originally made in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So
holy shit. That's fucking awesome.
So I can guarantee you, wherever we be at, there will be PBR.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Great,
Now it's time for number 3, Niklas. As we end this podcast, I cannot end this episode by saying goodbye. That is way too final. This was incredible. This album is going to be absolutely maddening in terms of where it's going to be placed on top albums of the year 2025. I would love to bring you back on the podcast again in the future, and I got to make good on that promise, so this cannot be goodbye. This has to be, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Woo! Well, folks, my interview with Niklas from the band Orbit Culture. Now it's time for Kevin's final thought. Where am I going with my final thought on this one? Man, I still remember listening to Orbit Culture for the first time and diving deep in his album for the first time with the singles, listening to the Tales of War. I just couldn't get enough of it. I thought that when it comes to stuff that I really like in like the metal I listen to, because I'm more the metalcore kind of side of things. Like, I mean, you see the We Came as Romans banners in the back. You guys know I like Bring the Rise. You guys know I like Falling in Reverse. You guys know I like Ice Nine Kills a lot. You know I like most of what Bad Omens has done, what Beartooth does. So I'm like, when it comes to more of that like melodic death metal, groove metal kind of mix, I mean, I do like the stuff that Trivium has done, but when I heard this, I'm like, is this really going to be for me? Is this really going to hit? And holy shit. This was something that not only took me in terms of quality of the metal styles that they worked with and the flow of their songs, but how the fifth member is what they can do with their cinematic ideas as an enhancer or as a support member to the entirety of their tracks. Yes, bringing up Flesh God Apocalypse was a great aspect of how that could become more of like the focal point versus the kind of support side of things and just enhancing the songs. And you see the greatness in both, and what Orbit Culture does with it just creates fantastic songs that just add so much more to it. You listen to the singles and you're going to be begging for the album, because this could very well take over that Whitechapel album as album of the year. Yeah, I'm saying it. I want to thank Niklas for coming to the podcast. And when it comes to finding Orbit Culture online, go to the podcast below. Link symbols for everything when it comes to finding the new album, when it comes to them going on tour, and following them on social media is going to be there. Also, follow us at the Chord Progression Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Links are down below as well. The subscribe button on YouTube is right over here. If you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, hit follow or subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify to make sure you're following us on there. Like these episodes to help push us in the algorithm. And listen to Orbit Culture, man. I want to thank Niklas. And that's going to be for me. Thank you very much for listening to the Chord Progression Podcast. My name is Kevin. And you guys know how I end every single one of these episodes. Big, healthy, and hearty. See ya! Yeah.